Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace. There's a reason why the retail bag for my brand new HomePod looks so scuffed up. I hand-carried this across the Singapore-Malaysia land border. This is actually not available in Malaysia, where I live, so when I saw it on the shelves of the Apple store at Marina Bay Sands, which by the way is even more beautiful in person, I just had to buy one home. This is the second generation full-sized HomePod, which was announced back in early 2023. I had already owned the original first-gen HomePod, and I liked that one so much that it was worth paying for the second gen, then paying import taxes to bring it across the border, then carrying it all the way home. You can tell I like this product very much, despite it being one of the Apple products you don't hear about as often as the rest. But to listen to, this is probably one of the best sounding Apple products, and that's what got me hooked onto it at first. If I point a microphone at this HomePod and play this video's dialogue through it, it should give you an idea of how good this sounds. Good enough for me to tell you about our sponsor Squarespace entirely through the HomePod. You see, you don't have to choose from a template to start your website with Squarespace. You've got the alternative of using an incredibly powerful guided design tool called Squarespace Blueprint, which gives you a completely personalized design with the help of AI. It offers customizations from color schemes to fonts, and it even lets you tailor the tone of the copywriting that's generated. Your website is automatically optimized for every device. It's also got powerful SEO tools built in to help your site show up more often to more people and in exactly the way you want. Of course, you may want to further customize your site down the line, and with Squarespace's next-gen website editor called Fluid Engine, you can intuitively customize every little design detail with drag-and-drop technology for both desktop and mobile. With Squarespace, you can sell anything from products to content to time. Payments are flexible and seamless for your customers. It lets you accept credit cards, PayPal, and Apple Pay, or even offer the option to pay later with Afterpay and ClearPay in eligible countries. Head on over to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/zycheng to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. One thing I disagree on what many people say about the HomePod is it's too expensive. Now, I'm not saying that 433 Singaporean dollars is not expensive. Just ask any Malaysian, our exchange rate is rather inspiring at the moment. But for what you get, this isn't exactly overpriced. See, if you were to look for another speaker which sounds as good as the HomePod, you would very likely end up at a similar price range or perhaps even more. This is ignoring everything else the HomePod can do. Just listening to music alone is very enjoyable on this. It's also the simplest solution to fill a room with great sounding music. You plug this one thing into the wall and it's sorted out. Even with a really good Bluetooth speaker, you would still need to connect it to a device to play music from. With the HomePod, you could have nothing on you and just ask Siri to play you something directly from Apple Music. And the thing that always gets me about the HomePod is how it always sounds bigger than it physically is. It's almost shocking when you first hear how deep and powerful the bass is coming out of this little thing. That being said, I do feel the bass has been dialed back slightly compared to the first generation HomePod, though the high frequencies do sound much more refined on this second generation. You might be able to hear the difference if I cut between the same track recorded through each generation of HomePod. On the second gen, there's not much in terms of looks that sets it apart from the first gen, but the backlighting now covers the entire area of the panel instead of just a circle in the center. And the power cord, despite it looking so flush, is actually removable now. One thing I'm particularly impressed with, and this has always been the case since the first gen, is how you could be blasting music at full volume, which is quite loud, and just quietly call for Siri, and it can hear you just fine. And when it comes to integration with other Apple products, the HomePod is some of the very best the ecosystem has to offer. And I'm not just talking about AirPlay, although it is super cool how you can just move your phone close to the HomePod and it kind of drops off what's playing on your phone to it, or you do it again to almost steal that song away from the HomePod. But I'm also talking about other integrations like linking this to an Apple TV, which would also let you route your entire TV's audio through the HomePod. Using intercom between HomePods in different rooms is also one of the most convenient and fun features ever. It's the most fun when it catches someone off guard and you give them a bit of a spook. This HomePod also doubles as a humidity and temperature monitor. It shows this info in the Home app. Sound recognition is another potentially life-saving feature by sending you a critical alert in case it detects the sound coming from a smoke or carbon monoxide alarm. This is particularly important if you're not home when it happens. But one of my favorite features is still being able to simply ask Siri to ping my iPhone for me, because you'll never forget where you left your HomePod. It's always there, but your iPhone... Siri, where's my iPhone?
Looking for Edwy iPhone 15 Pro Max. It's nearby. Pinging your iPhone 15 Pro Max now.
It's right here. How do I make it stop? Okay. So this really is one of those products which I've been benefiting from on a very daily basis. And probably because this isn't currently being sold in my region, most of my guests who visit and come across the HomePod don't even recognize it. They do always notice that, hey, this speaker sounds amazing, and ask, what is it? When I tell them it's an Apple HomePod, some of them express shock at the fact that Apple made speakers. So in my books, this is definitely my most underrated Apple product.